the millennial comments.
Welcome to Drawing Hive.
God, Timmy, music to our ears, man.
Right?
It's been a while. Welcome back, everybody, and Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. You are in. Whoop, there's my phone saying.
Time to go.
Time to paint.
Yeah,
You would set an alarm. You would set an alarm for 1 minute after the start time of something.
No, it's Siri reacting to what I said.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
Welcome to Drawing Hive. You can see the big Visual Arts Passage sign there. Just a reminder, it's brought to you by Visual Arts Passage. What we do at Visual Arts Passage, we help people develop careers. We're an online mentorship program that helps illustrators and painters and viz dev artists get into the industry. And we do an amazingly good job of it. And this is a big week right now because we can see all the success of our students, like getting in shows and winning awards, and it's pretty cool.
Oh, it's so awesome.
It is so cool. So tonight, just to be current, this is Timmy's image. I like this.
I love it.
Drawing Hive 232, the Blizzard. And so our theme tonight is we are doing The Thing, Kurt Russell. We are doing The Hateful Eight, Samuel L. Jackson, Jack Nicholson in The Shining, and Leonardo DiCaprio in The Revenant, excuse me. And we're set to draw. We do 3 poses, 2 20-minute and 1 40-minute pose. You can choose any one of these. You can draw all 4. You can do whatever you want to do. Just enjoy yourself and draw with us.
Yeah, and please draw along. We're going to check out all the artwork on Instagram. So if you post your work and in the caption, you include hashtag Drawing Hive and hashtag Drawing Hive 232. That's episode 232. We're going to check it out. We chose this theme tonight because a lot of people are getting snow. John and I especially. Julian made a point to, I said we're under a foot of snow, and Julian was like, what's that? That's nothing.
He like went up to you. He went to school and felt both ways.
I didn't realize I was competing so intensely.
You have water?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Cassandra doesn't have water.
Yeah, Julian doesn't understand the impact of a snowstorm in Kansas City of people that aren't used to driving in it.
Yeah, which is weird because we get it every year, but every year it's just a full brain like wipe. We all forget it. No, I liked all the themes. I love a good blizzard. So this was fun.
I love snow. Yeah.
And we had a big snow day. And I was like, I'm gonna watch The Hateful Eight. And it made me think of this. It's just the theme tonight is tough guy heaven, I think. It's just other than The Shining, which is just bad dad. Yeah. So well, it's good to be back though.
So good
we've got our little New Year's bump of attendance, which is that's always nice to see the numbers shoot to the sky that first week of January.
They missed us, Timmy.
Yeah, they did. They did. Maybe is drawing your resolution this year.
We're happy you're here. We're so happy you're here.
They all checked in to see if Cassandra was here.
Yeah.
So not true.
Yeah. I'm not drawing right now because it's part of my my educational talk tonight. So we can do our educational talk pretty early, Timmy. I forgot to mention that.
Oh yeah. Should we? I mean, the room's pretty full. Do you want to just jump into it?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Let's do it. I'm
a lot of sense because I'm watching what Cassandra's doing, and it's the big part of my talk. So
all right.
So are you gonna?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. New year, new me, new Drawing Hive, everything.
Right. So tonight, I want to talk about a couple of things, two different ways to approach. And here's some images. Left, Edward Kinsella, Sterling Hunley, and one of mine from the mid 1990s at somewhere around there. Um, and these were all pieces that were created with a drawing, a very well established drawing, and thin layers of material over the top of it. And they used a drawing that they established from the beginning. You're seeing the complete opposite on Cassandra's screen right now. And that's the second part of what I'm going to talk about. But I always think of like when I'm starting a piece, that's really, after you decide, your dark and light pattern, your thumbnail of where things are going to go, you have to think about materials and how you're going to approach it. And so I break it into two categories: maintaining my drawing through the whole piece, like doing a drawing that I can use all the way through the piece, or doing what Cassandra's doing, blocking in shape and working from the very vague and adding the drawing as I go through it, drawing with my brush or blocking in, whatever you want to call it. But it's all like, you can tell Cassandra's not making like a pencil drawing underneath and then painting on top of it. She's using her materials to establish her drawing. So here's a few. Here's a few that I just think are incredible this way. On the
So
left,
good.
that's a Bernie Fuchs on the left. There's a Conti crayon drawing underneath and very direct oil paint. Put on pretty thick. I mean, not like impasta thick, but it has a little bit of transparency. You see where I'm pointing right now, that dark, that's a transparency of oil paint over a Conti crayon drawing. That texture underneath is this very crude drawing that he put down. The eyes, the nose, all of this, that's all material of the Conti crayon drawing. In Chris Payne's, this was all put in. At this point, he was probably drawing with a Prismacolor pencil, like a dark brown, burnt sepia or something like that underneath, and then building up with acrylic, then watercolor, then an oil wash on top of it. A lot of transparency. But he's using that drawing that he established. And my father's on the right. Same similar type thing. Um, and and then blocking things in with acrylic paint, and then finally with oil paint at the end. But he's maintaining this drawing that he put down from the beginning. I'm going to show you a more detailed approach of that. I have actually a few photographs of a demonstration that he did of a series, and I've kind of highlighted it. It's pretty cool. But first, I'm actually going to show one of Chris's. Well, oops, this is a really close up of one of mine. That all of this is drawing underneath with an oil wash on top of it. I didn't put any darks in here. In fact, I removed darks. This was a very, very early on piece that I did. I decided I didn't want to work this way. I did it for about 5 or 6 years, but it was too close to what my father and other people were doing. I wanted to get away from it. But I started to add like different materials, like this is all done in oil crayon, because it was such a contrast to the really tight pencil rendering. So you can tell how long ago, because this was Dan Rather was this age at that time.
Wow. That's
So
a great piece.
this was probably 40 years ago. God, I'm old. That's just hard for me to say.
A lot of people just went, "Who's Dan Rathers?"
No.
Yeah, Dan Rather. Dan Rather was pretty prominent news journalist. This is an example. This is a photograph I shot of Chris Payne doing a demonstration at the Illustration Academy. And you can see the drawing. All of this drawing was established in pencil first, and then he's probably put over an acrylic wash over the top of it. I don't know what he's putting. He might be painting acrylic on at this point, and then sometime he would lay watercolor over it and lift the watercolor off, and then eventually an oil wash and lift the oil out. And I can explain that more in a second. This was the finished piece. This is of my good friend and great artist, Brent Watkinson. And I jokingly told Chris that he got it wrong. I said, Brent's ears aren't that big, but his brain is. The smartest people I've ever met. That's what you should have exaggerated. So anyway, here we go. Here's this is he did this piece, this Dracula piece, after the Bram Stoker cover that I showed earlier. And this was just a demo for the for our program. And he's doing nothing but using a very soft pencil, like a 8B or a 6B pencil, and just laying in a graphite drawing. That's what his drawing kind of looked like before he started putting layers of material on top of it. This is very contrasty. It wasn't this black. It didn't go that extreme on the value side. This is the next step, is he took this and he put like a real light, which I don't have a photo of, a light acrylic glaze over the top of the whole thing, moved some color around, scrubbed it in. And then he took black acrylic and blocked in the areas to get his shape that he wanted. One of the things that I will constantly mention about my father's work, he was the ultimate shape designer. Everything, his shapes were always so interesting. I mean, and he put so much effort and thought into the light and dark pattern of the shapes and how they sat on the page. So here's the next step. He takes, this is an oil glaze over the whole thing. Now he's gone from acrylic to oils now, which is perfectly fine. I can't do it the other way around. And then the next step, he's taken a kneaded eraser and he's lifting out some of the lights to model with the oil of what he put down with the oil wash. That's what that looked like when he was finished with it. It's already looking really pretty good at this point, right? So the next step is he's going to go in and he renders a little bit with color pencil in places to get a little bit more finish of what he wants. That's what that looked like. And then the next step is he would use an airbrush, and he's actually blowing oil through that really thin down oil paint, a very light gray or a white, to give it kind of this ghostly effect, to really make a high key and very close relationship of values in the face. So that's what it looks like after that. And then the next step, which was pretty fun, he's just throwing paint, splattering some red paint to really finish off the piece for the Dracula theme. This is probably 16 by 20. It's not very big, maybe 16 by 22. This is like an hour, maybe an hour and a half long to get from start to finish. I mean, the guy was
fast,
freakish,
so fast,
facilitated. It just, and it didn't look like he was moving fast. He just got there fast. He was just very consistent, making decisions very quickly, and just always would just amaze me what he got done. Here's some pieces of mine. Here's the other way to approach drawing through the process. This is a very kind of a straightforward oil painting here on the left. I did this in here. I did a drawing underneath these, but I lost it. I just used it to block in my shapes and an idea where things are going as a map. The piece on the right, very similar to what Cassandra's doing there, I did with acrylic and just painted the areas. Excuse me, I have to move this window here. Like all of this area in its flesh tone is just painted flat. And then I drew the dark on top of it. And then I drew in, I would draw with oil crayons and then scrub in dry brush oil paint to get the rendering. But it was, the whole area was this value right here. I was trying to find a local color and a local value, very much to what's going on in Cassandra's video right now. And then doing my finish by drawing back on top of it. Didn't establish it at the beginning, did it afterwards. And then now I'm going to show you kind of the ultimate. Look at that. I'm not kidding you. Cassandra, I have watched some of the best painters in the world paint, and Cassandra doesn't play second fiddle to anybody. She does this so unbelievably well, establishing the shapes and bringing her local color, her values, getting things grouped together, and then finishing in the rendering at the end. It's just exquisite of what she can do, her capabilities. Um, so those are really, two very, very different ways to approach, especially in the mindset of the drawing. And that's what we're doing here. So I thought it would be an interesting topic tonight to kind of walk through that. Cassandra, please say something about how you do this and why you do this and where you developed it and all of that stuff.
Oh, well, first off, I'm unbelievably humbled by that statement. And I want you all to know that I paint this way because John and others at Illustration Academy taught me to paint this way. And it I was very, very slow painter in college, and I was more drawing heavy. I think both ways that John is showing are equally fantastic ways to create art. But you have to figure out what works for you. And drawing first and me trying to hold on to my drawing didn't work for me. It became too precious and I was too stiff, and I lost a lot of fun in my paint strokes because I was making my drawing too precious. So I had to, through wonderful examples, I had to learn to let go and trust that if I drew something once, I could find it again. So when I do these paintings, I do a thumbnail and then I do a rendered sketch. And then after I have a prepared board, I quickly draw it out and then I lose it. And by that point, I've done this image 3 times. I know I can find it again, and I'm very comfortable with just letting go and covering up and finding. And I got to tell you, Drawing Hive every week is just refines my skill that much more because I do zero drawing in here. I find my silhouettes and then I roughly figure out where the most dramatic shadows are. And then I just kind of keep balancing it out and rendering and finding new shapes and bringing it forward. But for me, by simplifying the process of shapes, silhouettes, simple shadows, simple shapes, I get there so much faster and it gives me room to not have it perfect at the beginning. So I feel like my process took a giant leap when I started to trust myself in the process, and that was really big for me.
Absolutely. And I don't know, it's kind of a confidence you have to build. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
when I remember doing this piece, I did a kind of rough drawing, but it totally got knocked out. It totally disappeared. And redrawing it again was really not that hard. I mean, it was like everything, it's like the shape's right.
Yeah, the
All you,
shape is right.
it's so much easier to find everything. So, I remember doing this of just, painting all this stuff really flat to start with, and then doing all the rendering inside after it was painted flat, getting something a local color, local value that's close. And it really allows you to focus what I think is the most important thing about picture making. And, I heard Gary Kelly say this out loud one day, and it really did change the way it didn't change the way I say it. It's just I wish I would have said it so eloquently. And he just said, when you start to think about it, a picture's just a collection of shapes on a page. It doesn't matter if it's an abstract picture or a very realistic or something that um, you're trying to do something with a lot of detail. It's still a group of shapes on a page and or a picture plane. And so learning how to control those shapes on the picture plane, or learning, more importantly, learning that you can control them. And that's really where things started to change for me, is that, oh my God, I can make something that's slightly different than what I'm looking at, but I can use that information to make it believable and real. And the reason I'm so wildly impressed with Cassandra, what you don't see in this is the struggle of drawing. The acclimate of drawing that's in each of these pieces is amazing. To try to put clothing or to take an animal and make it feel like it's in human form, that's no easy trick. And she manages to do it seamlessly. So kudos to you, Cassandra. Beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you.
All
But
right.
it does take, I will say that getting comfortable with painting started with drawing a lot, a whole lot.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, I don't know if I would feel as comfortable with what I'm doing right now of trying to do lots of different things if I didn't do this every week. I
Hmm.
mean, taking the time, you draw every day in your paintings. In my landscapes, I draw all the time, but it's not like really having to think about, anatomy or getting likeness. I mean, I think getting likeness is like such a difficult thing to do. And if you can get a likeness, it really, accelerates your ability to draw if you focus on that. So all that said, that's pretty much what I had to say educationally tonight. And then I was going to say Happy New Year to Mr. Raymond Bonilla, who just came into the room.
Hey, Ray, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone. John, I agree to disagree. To agree.
All right. Seems like Ray's sticking to
Welcome,
his
Ray.
guns and Ray's sticking to his guns in 2025.
You agree to disagree to agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all about. I'm all about. I'm trying to do a better job of saying how I feel.
Okay. All right.
That was a great talk. I'm actually. I was thinking a lot about that today. Um, which is crazy that we were talking about that.
I
And
mean,
during,
don't kind of like here's what I think about like when I'm starting something. I mean again, I read an unbelievable quote the other day of Degas quote. Painting, and I'm just gonna butcher it. I'm just gonna try to remember it. And painting is really easy if you don't know what you're doing, but it's very difficult if you do. And I
I love
really,
that.
it's so true. You give yourself options and you give yourself so many tools and different things, more things to think about. Um, and so when I start a picture, you think about, okay, where does everything go? It's like, I've done my thumbnail. I figured out, okay, and then what's going to be light and what's going to be dark. You can figure that all out in thumbnail. But then the next thing is to think about is how are you going to approach it? How are you going to make this picture? Is this going to be a detailed drawing with a thin wash on it? Is it going to be, what Cassandra's doing? But those are really the things that are the triggers, the most important topics I think about when I start. And then it'd be fun to hear what Ray and Cassandra have to say, what they're thinking about.
Mm. Can I, somebody asked a good question. I just want to explain the concept of what is too precious. So, when in the process of where I am with my piece and where Ray is with his, if you see that like he is simply looking at the silhouette of Samuel L. Jackson, that is just a starting point. He is not going to necessarily be glued to that being exactly as it is. He's just laying out a place to start. This is not looking like Samuel Jackson yet. I'm just trying to figure out like, okay, so the light is coming from this direction, shadows this direction. This is kind of where features are. Everything's gonna be, it's okay that things are gonna move around. His nose is gonna move up a bit. His eye is gonna get a little smaller. His jacket is gonna get more put in. And so I am open to the fact that this is adjustable. So that's what I mean when it's not too precious. Like I don't consider this it's where it needs to finish or where it is. I consider this a starting point of something to work with. So if you have a tightly drawn eye and you don't have other stuff figured out, there's artists that can work that way, but that's really hard. That means you have to hold on to that perfect eye and have everything match it. Versus everything for me is rough and I can slowly work on it at the same time and bring the whole piece up. So I'm not holding on to things. I'm open to things flexing and changing as it develops. So that's a good question because I think I talk about things being precious, but I don't explain what that means. Hope that helps.
How about that
Yeah,
answer, huh, John?
I know that's kind of kind of scary me. Way better than mine. Um,
I just want to chime in because we've got a lot of new people tonight. First of all, welcome. If you joined us in the midst of our educational chat, hope you enjoyed it. Please draw along with us. I just dropped the link to the reference in the chat. We're just going to keep drawing. Please ask questions. You can use the chat is open while everyone behaves. But yeah, anything you want to know about? John, somebody asked, did you say that the Dan Rather was in Oil Crown or Oil Crown?
Dan Rather was a similar technique of exactly what my father was doing there with,
Cool.
I didn't use, I used oil crayon on the white shirt and the tie. It was something afterwards, just like adding oil on top of it. Hey, I'm gonna, Timmy, I can't get my, after I
Yeah,
did
just
that,
do a
I can't get
reset.
my other camera
Yeah.
to come on, so I'm gonna leave the room and come back in. That's not
All
gonna
right. Yeah.
cause an issue, right?
No sweat.
Keep Ray under control for me.
I'll
Thanks.
try, but yeah. Ray, are you under a bunch of snow? What's everybody? I said I had a foot of snow and it felt like I got attacked. Everybody was like, "You don't know what snow is" on Discord.
Did you get a foot of snow?
Yeah, we did. We got a lot of snow.
Wow. That's
Yeah, the Kansas City did a shelter in place on last week, and I sheltered all over the place. I I was out and about. Couldn't help it. My nephew is about to turn 4, and I was like, I gotta be the uncle that went out in the snow.
in
You're
the
a good
storm.
uncle. You're a good uncle.
Yeah, I gotta be the uncle that's like I can't be governed. so I took so I
You're
took him
free range
sledding.
uncle.
What's up?
You're free range uncle.
Free range uncle. Totally. Yeah. What does Timmy do? I don't know. Yeah. No. So yeah, I took him sledding, pushed a 3-year-old down a hill that is way steeper than I didn't learn it until after my brother was like, that was pretty ambitious. Like it's like, all right, little guy, you got this. Send him down it like a bullet. He had no idea.
Did he like it? Like, how did he respond?
An adult was walking uphill. We were out kind of in the thick of it. It was a bad storm when we were out this time, and so these were the people that were brave enough to go out in it. An adult saw him fly by and was like, "That kid looked terrified." So he got to go from the full spectrum of like fear and like crying to realizing it was fun at the end. So it's just sent him on an emotional roller coaster.
It means he'll
Just
sleep really well tonight.
he was like screaming for the way down and then realized it was fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So a foot of snow.
Yeah, but aren't you're from Buffalo?
Uh,
I mean, not from Buffalo, but you spend time in Buffalo. That's like nothing to
Yeah.
you, right?
Well, it isn't nothing if you have a city that understands how to remove it really quickly. Like a,
I
you know,
I would say everybody in Kansas City is pretending like we've never gotten snow before and they drove like it. It's like like the MIB like memory pen. Like it feels like every year they do that to everyone who lives in Kansas City with how to drive in snow.
oh
Like
yeah, yeah.
like it's just wild. That if you want a fun time, like look up a highlight reel of Kansas Cityans like just bumper carring themselves all week this week. It's some good highlight reels. I don't want anybody to get hurt, but
No, yeah,
just
yeah.
a mild bumper car accident is
Entertained.
very funny. Yeah.
If it makes you feel better, any better.
Yeah.
Like first storm in Buffalo, usually people forget how to drive in the snow, and it's like,
Mhm.
what are these people doing? Slamming on the brakes and peeling out. Uh, and yeah, it's like they have amnesia.
Yeah. There's actually a guy was stuck and I pulled over and another young kid pulled over right behind me. We both parked and we were walking down the street. It was a really kind of precarious area where he stuck. It's right by a highway. And I was like, I don't know this kid, but I was like, when we walk up, let's pretend like we just came to make fun of him. And the guy was like, oh yeah, I'll do that. Like that's a funny bit, right? And so we walked up and the guy was like, "Are you guys here to you guys came to help push me out? Thanks so much." I go, "No, we just came to make fun of you." And the other kid, I love this line. He goes, "You know you can't park there." It is, yeah, I know it's a stolen line, but it will never get old to me that you know you can't park there when your car is still sitting there.
That's a brilliant response. And what
Yeah.
did he say, the guy?
Oh, he just like he knew, you know, he got it pretty quickly. I was hoping that maybe we'd get some buy-in, but we didn't really sell it. Um, but
Well, I was telling Timmy, our city went for gold. We only got like 4 inches of snow, but we also got ice that knocked out the power in our water facility, which we learned didn't have its generators up and working. So we all don't have potable water now all
Oh,
week.
yeah.
all week. Oh,
All week. The our Richmond, our city itself, like a lot of them don't even have water. We at least have water pressure. We just can't like we have to boil the water to do anything related to like hand wash dishes in boiled water. I
right.
feel like a frontier woman here with our pots of boiled water on this on the stove.
Yeah, boiled water alerts are they become very tiresome. Uh yeah, I've been in a couple up here up where in but when I was in Buffalo, it was like the where I used to teach at, it felt like there was one every other week.
Oh my gosh.
That
Yeah,
was
this is the first time I've ever experienced that. So that's fun, especially with kids.
oh yeah, yeah.
You use so
Oh
many
yeah.
dishes, even if you have paper plates.
Of course. And their hands are always dirty.
Yes.
Cassandra, it's not near as much fun as like boiling ink or anything. Um,
That is so much more fun. Always more fun.
Yeah. In a snow, do you guys enjoy like a blizzard
Oh, I
excuse
love
blizzard, get
snow.
to just camp out in the studio and get some work done or
Well, I don't get work done.
no?
Doesn't
Yeah, I
happen.
don't get anything done when it snows.
Well, no, because I got kids home. Like,
I'm a child though. Like I'm literally I don't have kids. And if it snows, I'm like, man, it'd be a shame if I didn't enjoy the snow.
yeah,
They
I have to
literally
bake
yeah.
something first. Like always, carbs are my first thought. Like baked
Mhm,
goods, and then yeah, we go play in the snow and shovel and stuff and sled.
mhm, yeah.
okay, I got a pretty good kind of funny story to tell about that. Is I am I live in the city, very close to Timmy. We both have like oversized lots to live in a city. I mean, like I have like an acre and 3/4. I think Timmy might
And
have.
it's not because of how Visual Arts Passage is doing. It's just
Oh,
large
that's right.
draw. I just don't want anybody to think we live like on estates, John.
No, it's
It's
Landowners.
okay if you
it's more like a farm.
Yeah, it really is. It's just
It's
weird.
like stuck right in the middle of the city.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I like having the property and stuff, but I bought this big garden tractor that I could plow the snow with. So I mow the lawn, plow the snow, that type of thing. So this kind of goes back to going for a walk and getting walking my dog. And my neighbor has the biggest Great Dane I've ever seen. The thing is huge. And it plays with my dog, Finn, up and down the fence line all day, every day. But when it's out, it attacks him.
oh,
And
Right.
twice he's attacked him and it attacked Finn. And I don't know if he's coming after me or the dog. And I'm always got to like break it up. And it freaks me out. I got really mad at my neighbor when it happened the last time. For the last couple of years, I've always plowed her driveway when it snowed.
Oh,
Her dog attacked Finn like 2 months ago. And I haven't said anything to her since, except some not pretty things. And she sent my wife a message the night before and she said, I'm really sorry again about the dog, but she calls me Mark. She said, could Mark, possibly like we're supposed to get this big snow. Could he like take care of my driveway tomorrow?
that's
So, and so like for 3 or 4 years, I've been doing this for the neighbors on either side of me just because I like doing it. And I never asked them for anything or payment for anything. But uh and I would feel silly taking money for them for it because it's something I like to do. Not this time.
Little bit of spite, a little spite shovel.
That's just true.
The
I'm
funny
after
part was,
Finn, your baby.
but this time it was like an unspoken message. I didn't have to say anything.
Yeah.
I went to my mailbox today and she put $200 in my mailbox.
Oh wow.
And I
That's
was
a good
like,
deal. She could have just hired a
I know
team.
she could have hired and had her driveway done like twice probably for that or three times.
Yeah.
But it's
Wow.
supposed to snow again tonight.
So you
And
thinking you're gonna get some cash, get some more cash out of it?
I'm thinking maybe
Yeah.
I'm gonna get something out of this.
Yeah.
Not
Uh,
real.
I did a lot of editing in the snowstorm. That was my thing. Which I was thinking when I was editing, I was thinking about it because I got a ton of new footage for a new project, and it's a pretty long one. So a lot of what I edit is like very documentary style. So I get sent like, um, hours and hours of footage, especially when it's comedy. A lot of times it'll be stand up, and I'll get sent like just set after set, and I'm looking for um only a couple things from a set. And usually you can't really use anything in a set because those are saved for specials. But just tons of like footage of people talking to bars, interviews, street interviews with comedians talking with each other. And you kind of have to build like a story with it. And I was thinking about how you guys always talk about shape design in
Hmm.
your art. It's exactly the same thing with editing. It's like if you get too into the weeds too fast with any specific scene or interaction, it's just like a waste of time. You don't get to like see the actual shape of a story happening. And so you just pick like really fat, like large moments, and you just throw them on a timeline as you go along. Um, anyways, I started thinking about that. It reminded me of how you guys talk about shape design completely.
Universal
Yeah.
design. It's
Well,
universal design, Timmy. As I told
yeah,
you about like listening to Springsteen talk about designing and writing music. And you
yeah,
could replace painting or illustration or picture making with writing a song. And
um,
it would have been exactly the same message. And it was just so and it's just universal design.
on the topic of picture making, we got to move on to the next image. So please take a minute to post your work to Instagram. It's in the caption. It's hashtag Drawing Hive 232 hashtag Drawing Hive and add Visual Arts Passage. I'll drop that stuff in the chat too. But please post it now. Don't wait till the end. We're gonna scope it all out on the show. Um, yeah, no, it is. It's just funny, like how that works. And like whenever I get like too invested in a scene, it's just a massive waste of time. And then like at the end, because usually what happens like with the piece I'm working on now, it's gonna be like the network that wants it. Like they don't want anything longer than 22 minutes. And so, and I mean, I probably have 40 hours of content.
Oh my gosh.
And so um if you spend and the deadlines are pretty fast too. And so you're like, you gotta you might think a part is important, but like they're gonna cut the fat, and you don't want to spend like 10 hours editing a scene that's gonna get cut.
Right.
And so you just shape together a whole thing. Um, but here's the question for you guys. When you're doing thumbnails and things like that, how often do you share, not thumbnails, but how often do you share the early process of what you're working on with clients or an art director? I mean, our art director makes more sense, but
Well, number one, it depends on your comfort level with the art director. You know, if
Mhm.
you worked for them before in the past, that type of thing. And so they'll tend to ask for, they get comfortable. Art director's biggest word they use is trust. If they trust you, uh, they feel confident that you're going to deliver. So that you work for somebody, an art director, multiple times. It could just be a really loose little thumbnail.
yeah.
Um, I always tried not showing things until I was totally happy. I didn't want them to make any comments until I've solved all the problems.
Yeah.
And I would always
I
show a minimum
yeah.
of three.
I typically would never share stuff. The only person I share stuff with really like super early is Syracuse. Um, he's a director, if anybody doesn't know. Um, and he gives me a lot of these opportunities, and it's really just because it's fun to work with it on with him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
then every once in a while, I'll send something like way, way, way too, and I'll be like, dude, this is way too early. I should not be sending this to you. Like,
Right.
don't freak out. And he'll be like, I liked it. I sent it to so and so, and I'll be like, oh my God.
Not yet.
Well,
Like, oh
I
my
mean, that's
God.
what you said is really important, especially for illustrators. Like,
Yeah,
in doing thumbnails, right, the term of draw dumb,
yeah,
it's not about drawing. It's about saying what you want to say and conveying the idea and giving them
yeah,
a beginnings of what the picture, and then you
yeah,
use that thumbnail as a map to build
totally.
picture around. But if
Yeah.
you've worked with a client that, and you know they're wanting to see like, oh, what does this person look like in a thumbnail? That's a big red flag to
Oh
me.
yeah. I mean, the most annoying thing to me is like, um, this has never happened with the cues with Syracuse, but other people I've edited stand up for, and like I'll grab a stand up scene, and I just know we're gonna be using a chunk of it in the thing, right? And maybe it's a set where there were like three cameras. I'm not gonna edit three cameras until I know we are using that clip. So I'm like very much I'm editing mostly from audio. Like I'm listening. Like, does the story make sense if you close your eyes and just listen to it?
Mm.
Right.
Interesting.
Um for me, I mean, I don't know. There are probably editors that would be like, that is the worst way you could possibly edit. Like, but I guess the thing for me is most of the time I don't have control over the visuals. Like most people don't want you to like digitally crop on stuff. So it's like, what are like, I mean, if I'm choosing between two scenes or something, obviously I'm looking to see what visually is more like, you know, communicates better. But like, yeah, I'll have somebody like message me back, because when I send like a super super rough, I really just want to be like, this is where I think it should start, this is the journey I think it should go on, and this is where I feel like it should end. And it's way too long, and it's whatever. And then they'll be like, hey, the moment with the stand-up clips, can you why aren't you cutting to any of the cameras? You're just like, use your imagination. Like,
Well, it's Timmy. It's
right? Yeah,
part of that of what part of what I said. I need to clarify. I said,
yeah,
that was work that I did for like editorial clients and
yeah,
some institutional clients, um, and some publishers. But I've never worked on like a viz dev development type thing, or in a scenario with a team of people at a studio. Every part of the industry has different expectations of what they're looking for. So, I just wanted to clarify what mine was, why I said that,
yeah.
give it some context.
Hmm.
Ray, what's it like? What's that like for an RPG game, for like Magic or something? What are they looking for?
Well, usually it's you're looking they're looking for art that is consistent with the style guide. So if you can, you have a lot of freedom to have your style itself come in, but everything's got to feel like.
Explain style guide a little bit. Just
So, um, so a lot of imagine if okay, so you have Spider-Man, right? You have, let's say you have like an intellectual property like Marvel, and so you have Spider-Man, Thor, Captain America. Um, at a certain point, whenever you're doing, whether it's a comic book or a uh, movie or a video game or whatever, you've got to decide what Spider-Man should look like, right? What Thor is going to look like, what Captain America is going to look like, and there is um, a set of a lot of concept artists. What they'll do is viz dev artists will work on solidifying that vision. So when you get a style guide, for instance, like you know exactly what all the superheroes look like, what the supervillain should look like, or in this case, like in Magic, like I worked on this set called Duskmorn, which was like horror. Like you got a sense of what everything looked like in terms of like the different types of environments, what should they feel like, what colors, so on and so forth. So you've got to be able to do that while also telling a story. And so your sketches, I'm part of the school of thought that like when I hand in a sketch, it's got to be it's my one opportunity to control the vision as much as I can. And so I will do a very tight, like nearly finished piece, um, so that there's no miscommunication because
As the first thing you share with them.
right, as the first thing you share with them.
Yeah. Well, see, well, I'm glad I said that. I mean, different parts of the industry are looking for different things. So,
Yeah, I mean, I've seen other artists like do very loose sketches, but the problem is, um, then the art director doesn't know what you don't know or don't see, right? So because they're not mind readers, right? So you've got to basically, I like to ease their mind by giving them a very finished concept for a painting. And that's the way I view a sketch of any type, is like just a really clear concept of what a piece is going to look like. So there's no surprises because, I think, John and Cassandra, like, whatever clients you're working on, they don't like surprises because you right. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on it. But I don't show thumbnails or anything like that. Um,
so that's not required. I mean, what's required is they want a pretty complete uh, image, a fairly complete understanding of what they're going to get as a finish.
correct. Correct.
Yeah.
And, it could be a line drawing, but the line drawing should have some sort of value in it. It should be explaining the story. It should uh, demonstrate that you understand the context of the style guide and also the context of the card that you're illustrating. Because I illustrate cards, for those of you who don't know, for Magic the Gathering. And so, yeah, so there's all these different types of, with the style guide, you're also given a description, and it's basically what they want you to illustrate. So you also have to come up with something interesting within the confines of that story.
You'll laugh at this, Ray. I'd never done like a romance novel before up to this point. I was probably 30. And
I already like
um,
the beginning.
and so this, it was on like the steps of a brownstone, this embrace of this male female figure on the steps of a brownstone in New York City. And that was the basic image that give it some kind of context to it. And I was doing all editorial stuff at the point, and I sent my sketch in. There was like, I didn't get into detail of like what they were wearing or anything. And this art director I got this call like, I can't tell anything from this. I'm like, what do you mean? It's like, that's where they are. This is, I'm gonna do and I'll bring all that stuff in at the end. And he said, but did you read that this needs to be a Norma Kamali? And I forgot the name of the designer he said that my clothing looked like. And I was like, I had no idea what he was talking about.
Hmm.
But it was very common in that part of the industry, doing those romance novels, that the illustrators were coming in with that type of information. I was totally unaware. I figured it out pretty quickly. And that was just part of it.
Like you see, like Elaine Duilio's sketches, they are like basically finished pieces of art.
Right.
It's kind of like movie poster comps,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
I've done three small press romance covers, but nothing like the couples embracing or anything like that. I've always wanted to do that just to see if I could do it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I used to, man, yeah, I used to see all those like Max Ginsburg and um, Elaine DeWillio, and just the list goes on. Like so many awesome. He's just it's like you know what I mean. It's like that type of illustration where you're like, oh, I would love just to take a crack at that, just to see what I would come up with.
Well, that was exactly my thought process on it. I really want to try this, but I didn't consider that at when I started. I didn't think about, the process aspect of it being that different. But it definitely was. And
Someone
Yeah, I think.
asked, someone
Oh,
asked, does the style guide allow for the artist's hand, or is there very like cut and dry style? This needs a painterly approach, or like how strict are they? It probably depends on the IP entirely, right? I
it
mean,
it does, yeah, it does. So like if you have, for the most part, I mean, if you look at uh the artwork that comes out of Magic the Gathering, you see so many different types of artists. Some are a little bit more linear than others. Some more a little bit more stylized. Some more realistic. Some more painterly. So they want you. They're hiring you for your visual identity.
mhm.
That voice that you have. So, um, but that's the big thing. Like coming from like I used to just do editorial illustration and working to a style guy was took me a while to kind of fully get used to. It wasn't easy because you're like, oh, there's certain little details that you just sort of like don't think that they're not as much of a priority as others. And when I was doing editorial illustration, it was just about the concept was the theme of the article, and that was pretty much it. Like it was like show this, show that. Like I remember doing something like an illustration for Cruising World magazine, and it was a feature article about like a ship, uh, somebody buying their first schooner ship, and they got caught in like gale force winds and like almost perished, and they wrote a story about it, and I remember thinking like that was the most under the microscope I've ever been in my life. Like I had to It's like a ship. I had to get all the ship rigging right, and they had to.
Mhm.
It's because you have to have the readers were knew the ships, right? So if the ship was, the rigging was all over the place, then that's a problem. It would look ridiculous, and so I understood that. But with magic, it's like that times 1,000, right? Because it's um, you really have to understand, what the property is and the IP and what their goals are because it changes all the time too in terms of like the flavor of the set that you're working on.
Yeah, I'm assuming if it's like previs, it probably is much more strict. I'm assuming.
I think the well, yeah, like this it all depends on like where you're at in the process. Like if you're doing card art, um the this I think the sketch is really is paramount because it has to display that what how things should look like. And then there are artists that just work on the style guide, and that's like a whole nother uh, animal in itself too. It's a whole nother process, whole different set of artists, and whole different timeline. So it's yeah, it's really really interesting. But it's kind of like exactly what what John was saying about the romance cover novel. It's like yes, it's illustration, but it's a completely different market. So the expectations are different like the what the art is being how the art is being used is completely different, and so on and so forth. So
Wow.
That's really interesting. I've been always more on the fine art side and just like corp working within a corporation doing art. So it's interesting to hear this perspective on it. I've never had to work from the style guide before. There was just an understanding of like a company look that besides like color swatches when, working with a design firm for beer labels and stuff.
right, right.
Think about like someone trying to go to work for a studio. It's like thing I talk about all the time. It's like you better have a portfolio that shows that you can do, if you want to work for them, do that, do their house style. You know, whatever intellectual properties they're developing, you better be able to do that if you want to work for them. And certainly better know enough about, doing the research to understand it.
I bet that there's nothing more infuriating as a team leader in one of those studios when you're dealing with artists that think they're gonna come in and
Change it.
yeah, and change it. Or that they think that their approach is better, right?
Right.
Because I would assume that that's pretty common, Yeah.
Unless you're Peter DeSev or Carter Goodrich or somebody like that, it's not going to happen. But
Right.
Plus, they're also uh putting they're Peter DeSev and those guys are at a different point of the process too.
yeah,
Like,
that's true. Yeah,
Like if you're seeking out Peter DeSev, you know the style you're getting, and then you're basing it on that.
yeah.
I
But
love this work.
they want him to do him.
Yeah, yeah.
you don't hire Bill Sienkiewicz and be like, I really want like a Norman Rockwell vibe from you. You do that.
I could hear Bill now. Well, you're not going to get it.
Ray, fun fact, Randy just said he used to do illustration for Cruising World Mag too. He said not being a sailor, it was frightening to do boats and rigging.
I listen, like I had to get on I was lucky that in Buffalo there was a schooner ship that was because I needed reference because I don't know anything about sailing. I got seasick on okay the second the thing like I stepped foot on it and it was not even it was still docked.
Oh, that's hard. That's so hard.
So we were putting our lives on the line basically for Cruising World magazine.
I imagine the illustrations reflected all that life's blood you poured into it.
Okay, so can I actually the crazy thing about that part, and Timmy, I'll wrap it up really quick. And
Oh, no worries. I was gonna say something totally unrelated. So
but I was so worried that I was like a poser, right? Because I didn't do. I mean, this has been years, and so I could share this publicly. But I got asked by an art director. It was like, hey, do you like well, I got this. I got promoted, and I'm now a editor for all these smaller magazines. And I was like, and one of them is Cruising World. I was like, do you do boats and maritime art? And I don't see a lot of it in your portfolio, but I want to work with you. And I wrote back, I'm like, yeah, absolutely. That's what like I love boats and maritime and got a chance to do it in the you
With
know
all things maritime.
yeah. I had painted a boat in my life. Okay. Didn't know anything about them. So that's where the freak out was. But so I was so worried that I was gonna get outed, but everything went smoothly, and I got a note from the author saying that seeing my illustration made him almost feel like the smell of like the his or the smell of the sea, his room because he was
Wow.
like that was like wow
You
that is
brought a visceral experience to life.
I would consider that extremely successful, right?
Yeah.
I know God uh
fake it till you
yeah.
make it approach. I was you were talking about the maritime, your understanding of maritime illustration. And really coincidentally, we were watching a movie. It was a dumb movie, but they showed a shot of a computer of like a guy coding, and I know just enough about code to be like that was garbage. That they showed that on his computer. And then I googled worst coding in like history of movies, and it's hilarious. Some of the stuff that they put on desktops like to present like what like a hacker is doing or coding. Not like but like it's just like blatantly bad. It's like a
It's
like
equivalent of like
hello.
a hospital scene with a respirator sound, but there's no respirator.
Yeah, it's kind of weirder because like anybody in the IT space like can't look away from it. But like in Independence Day, the aliens' computers are just Mac OS 9, which is hilarious. They just have Macs. They're just
Love that hackers all have like everything is green and black, like
yeah,
Yes, always.
not colored.
yeah. But like fake coding, because the reason I thought about it was because like fake coding, like when you do that scene, that's a whole task. Like you're gonna do that, film the scene, then you gotta like come up with a bunch of fake code that like kind of makes sense, or it doesn't make sense at all. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think with do you think with the internet, uh,
Because you could fake all the ropes and everything on a sail, like, and nobody would know except sailors.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I think with the internet though, I think the backlash would be a lot more public these days. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like,
I don't know. I looked it up. And there's some pretty funny stuff that's like just still happens because it's just like, come on, why do we got to do this?
well,
That's like
I'm
watching movies about artists. Have you noticed like they always have dry brushes? Like they don't even have paint on their brushes and they're supposed to be
Yeah,
like doing all these detailed moments.
there
yeah.
was on YouTube. There's this great clip from a DVD behind the scenes interview with Drew Struzan, and he was talking about the mist and how he uh he he made like I guess like a I forgot the actor's name. Who's in the mist? Oh man.
Thomas
Um
Jane.
yeah, Thomas James, yeah.
Okay.
He spent like hours in his studio with him, and he showed him how to hold a brush and how to airbrush and like and how to do a frisky like a mask and this whole thing. And he was like, hey, yeah, man, you're gonna look good, you know, because he's apparently supposed to play him, like a version of the
Uh-huh.
artist, right? And so when he saw the movie, apparently like you notice like you'll see Thomas James character like he's painting, he's got paint on his hand and he's using this pool of paint on the back of his hand as a palette, and he's like just touching up this paint that is Juice's painting, and he's like, what the heck was all that? And apparently somebody on the set told him like, yeah, artists do this, you know, painters put paint on a pool of paint on their hand so they don't have to go back for more.
What?
They always have paint on.
Ray, did you see the Woody Allen's New York Stories with the Nick Nolte painting in it?
Oh, I would love to see that.
It's it's amazing. I wanted to paint like Nick Nolte when after I saw it. It got me so excited. And he did it so well. And part of it was the music that he was playing and painting to. Um, it was really quite impressive. He had obviously spent some time around some painters to be able to do that.
I'm looking at the painting right now. It doesn't look all that different from his mugshot.
The painting or him
Nick
and
Honestly,
Nolte in the movie.
all both of them, but the him and the painting. uh, somebody in the I really love this. Hey, I'm an art director for Disney Hyperion for young adult non-franchise
oh,
covers.
cool. Welcome.
Typically, typically concept this is Marcy.
Yeah, hey
Typically,
Oh,
Marcy.
wow. Yeah, there you go.
yeah, typically concepts are pre-approved before reaching out to illustrators, but there is some wiggle room. We do provide an art form with character descriptions and ask them to read the book. There you go. It's a great,
Thank you,
perfect
Marcy, for
answer.
being a great resource for that.
Yeah, that's awesome, actually.
You would know.
You would know.
Yeah,
We got Disney here, people.
And Marcy's art rocks. I love her
Yeah.
art.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Uh,
Marcy's an OG.
the Mist. Somebody told me to watch that one last year, and I saw a meme about it. The meme is him in the final scene. I won't talk about what happens in the final scene, but the the caption just says the most impatient man in the world. Which, if you've seen it or you know the story, you would understand how weird it is. Yeah. Somebody just shared a screenshot of Swordfish. Swordfish does take the cake for the funniest, uh, like digital references of what they think coding is.
Oh,
Which
I gotta
it,
go watch
it
that.
Ooh,
was
I
that
want
the
to think
movie?
about like the net. I feel like that movie probably didn't have great graphics.
Which
Remember?
it surely doesn't have to. I mean, nobody cared then, you know. The general pop didn't, you know. It was really the turning point, I believe, what I've been told. I had the opportunity to meet a woman who was like one of the main producers on the Lord of the Rings film, the first one.
Mhm.
Oh,
This is years ago. Um, and
Fran Walsh.
she,
But I was
no,
just wondering if it was
oh,
Fran.
this is no, it's not. It's not one of the famous ones. It's just a producer, not like an exec. She's a Kansas City gal, and worked on it, and then came back, was back in Kansas City for a while, and I met her about it. Um, but she talked about how that was the first film that what was the studio?
Weta.
Um, no, I can't remember. It was the big one. They nearly went
Oh,
bankrupt betting on it.
yeah. New Line Cinema.
Yeah, yeah, New Line Cinema. She talked about how New Line Cinema was like they literally could not have afforded those films to fail. But when they started it, the big push allegedly was that Peter Jackson insisted on bringing the fanboys in to essentially referee the direction of the film, and they credited that a lot because I guess studios really was at the dawn of the internet. They started to see projects fail because the audience had such a stronger voice in what actually succeeded and whatnot. You know,
Mm.
because like before the internet, like if a movie was bad, like you kind of had to do some work to find out if it was bad
Right.
and not see it. To not see a movie and know it was bad, you know,
Yeah. No. Yeah.
like pre-internet, like you had a couple critics, you could go to them, but I
TV
mean,
Guide.
and you know how
Those
you had to get those
Uber.
critics? You know how you had to get those critics? You had to go buy something in paper. like,
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah. When's the last time you guys went to a movie theater and just like looked at the listings outside? Because they're out there now. They're totally pointless. Nobody use the tickers that say like, you know, Wicked showing at 9:30, 10, 11, you know. When's the last time you went to a movie theater and were like, what should we see?
Oh no, I would have to call the movie theater and
Oh
then
yeah,
you would get
listen.
all the times. And then it'd be annoying if somebody said something and was talking in your house and you'd have to like listen to the whole list over again. And like the movie you wanted to see was like the sixth one and you'd get through all the times of all the others.
TV phone. Yeah. Oh my God. You've reawakened some rage that I've had.
Like,
Yeah.
nothing was worse when you're just like, I said don't talk. I was trying to get the times.
I long for those days. I think that was such a sweet time where we've traded that for like I'm just gonna scroll on Instagram for an hour.
Uh,
but
the
or
the whole deciding what you wanted to see though, that yeah, that is actually like a reality that I don't think exists anymore. Like to the masses, because that was, I remember that was common. And what would you look at? You know, you'd look at the movie poster a lot of times, right? It's like,
movie poster, or if you were lucky, you saw the trailer and you'd base it on that. But you got to watch the trailer one time, and if you missed it or you only heard half of it, that was what you got.
do you remember when the episode 1 came out and the
Yeah.
trailer, I think it was like it was a Brad Pitt movie. It was like some romance.
Oh, Meet Joe Black, wasn't it?
Black, yeah. Meet Joe Black had like the Star Wars trailer, and it apparently like its sales just skyrocketed once it had it. And but there was like it was common to see like a bunch of people pay to see Meet Joe Black, watch the Star Wars trailer, and then get up and leave.
Yeah, and Meet Joe Black was like almost a 3 hour movie.
I did not know that. It's even worse.
It was a really long movie. And like I know there was some crossover audience, but in general, that was not really the base audience for Star Wars.
I mean, my grandma took us to go see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or something like that. And we walked in, and the boys kind of knew something was up pretty fast. We were like, this is definitely not, this does not feel like the setup. But you're also a kid, so you don't really know how movies work yet, like the story and stuff. And so you're kind of like, this does not feel like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Grandma, no idea. We were watching the the film Phenomenon starring what's his
John
name?
Travolta.
John
John Travolta.
Travolta. It was so bad. And we were begging my grandma. We're like, this is not Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, that is definitely
And she
not the
just
same
like
thing.
she was just like, no, just wait. They haven't shown them yet. And you're just like,
Was
oh
that her just tricking you into seeing John Travolta with her
no,
grand?
because we left 30 minutes in and then it was like we go into Teenage Mutant and like that's an age where it doesn't matter. You can start Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 45 minutes late. You feel like you've seen the whole movie.
Right, right,
Little
right.
kid. You're just like, it doesn't matter. Just
Yeah,
tell me what happened,
what a great flick though.
What?
Phenomenon or
Done?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Not a fan of Phenomenon.
No, no, sorry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I didn't like it at all. We were enraged. I mean, it probably was, we were probably in there for 10 minutes, but it felt like half an hour. It was
Uh,
like 10 church minutes for kids. Like that's like it's like dog years.
level of
Church.
helplessness, right? Like an
Yeah.
exercise. This isn't.
It's the same as dog years. It's church minutes. It's there forever.
Oh my gosh, it's so
When you're a
funny.
little kid, you're just like, get me out. Yeah. Um, oh yeah. So 2025, right around the corner. We should move on to, I was gonna ask you guys resolutions or goals and stuff, but before we do that, please post your work to Instagram. It's hashtag Drawing Hive 223, hashtag Drawing Hive and at Visual Arts Passage. Post it now, don't wait till the end. We're gonna check it all out on the stream. Um, do you guys have anything you're particularly excited for 2025? Anything on the calendar or mentally in the crosshairs?
I'm excited anytime I just can't wait to do just work.
Yeah, yeah.
So many paintings I want to do. It's yeah. I just can't wait. Well, I'm working now, and it's like, oh, thank goodness. But I'm on a deadline, and it's like, oh no. It's like I wanted to work, but now it's here.
Yeah.
Well, Ray, what I'm excited about, and is seeing some more work of yours. What I'm excited about is I want to get a drone to photograph some of the landscape stuff that I'm doing. Wait,
Mm.
I gotta wait. I'm gonna wait for summer because I know I'm gonna crash it and lose it anyway, but I don't want to be wandering through somebody's field through a foot of snow.
Yeah, and be cold.
Right.
You can't operate them. They're not supposed to be operated below 40 degrees.
I love that you know that.
Well,
Yeah.
something that I like about that though is the snake factor. Something you don't have to worry about in around Niagara Falls. You got other things to worry about, but you start tromping through these fields and you better start paying attention to where you're stepping.
Oh, there's snakes in Kansas City?
And well, obviously in the grasslands, yeah, and the prairie, sure.
I don't know these things, John. I've been to Kansas City once and I had great barbecue, and that was it.
Well, it's not as bad as other parts of the country, but there's definitely rattlesnakes in the tall grass prairie.
We got a lot of snakes here in Virginia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just gonna visit it via drone then, if that's the case.
Do you know that there's rattlesnakes in Massachusetts?
There are?
Yep.
Wow.
Look right around Stockbridge, actually. Um, that's like one of this is I have this fear of snakes, and no
Yeah.
matter where I go, one of the first things I always look at is, are there poisonous snakes there?
Yeah. I mean, there are rattlesnakes in Missouri and Kansas, but like when people see them, like they post them and like it's not like
It's not
Montana,
like Texas.
California, or
Yeah.
Texas. Yeah. Which when I was in California, when we were in the camper there, we had to camp in an area where they had seen like 5 rattlesnakes, like a small area. And they're like, just watch out. Probably don't walk without high boots. And we're like, I don't have boots. And some guy was literally like, rattlesnake bite, not that big of a deal. It just means you're gonna have to go to a hospital. And I kind of looked it up, not totally wrong
Yeah,
for like a young man, like
right.
not children, not older people, but he basically was like, don't be a wimp. You'll be fine.
Gotta spend the night on.
Have Gianna take care of that.
Yeah, Gianna did not get along with him as well as I did.
Did
But
he, after recommending the footwear, did you notice that he was like in open-toed sandals?
yeah, it wasn't quite that bad, but it was funny because he knew I mean he wasn't a dummy. He knew quite a bit about it. He goes, the most common bite location for rattlesnakes after ankles in California? And I was like, no. And he goes, the face. And
Yeah.
it's because
What?
it's
People
because
playing
people
with.
people try to pick them up.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
What?
It's wild.
that
Yeah,
feels
because
like
like if it
torture.
doesn't surprise you, then you know about it, and then that's the next location of surprise.
Well, we have copperheads out here, and my aunt actually, when she was a teenager, accidentally crawled over a copperhead nest and
Oh,
got her leg bit a
Oh,
lot.
oh wow.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. So it swelled up for sure.
Yeah.
You'd never know now, but yeah, that was probably not her favorite day.
Little illustration history. Great illustrator, Fred Otness from Nebraska. And so was his wife. And his wife was the first person I ever met that had been bitten by a poisonous snake. She was bitten by a water moccasin when she was like 9. Almost killed her.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, did you know, thanks to opossums, they're able to process venom of snakes because they don't react to venom. So a lot of anti-venom serum happens because of opossums.
Oh, there you go. More reason to like them.
I would
They are
have
amazing.
just strap them on my head,
They're
and
one on either leg.
I can picture it now, right?
I'll
Um,
do anything for good reference, Cassandra. You know, I got to go into that grassland.
Yeah, like you're like, it's my hat, don't judge me.
Yeah.
on the topic of opossums, are you guys are you guys ready for the winter semesters coming up? Starts soon.
Can't wait.
10 days. 10 days. You guys are running class. Those of you who don't know,
We weren't
our
aware.
online yeah, our online courses for illustration and fine arts and character design and visual development, they all kick off January 18th. And Ray, Cassandra, and John, we got the fine arts team here. You guys all run a course together. It's pretty awesome. Really excited for that one.
Always fun.
Yeah, so if you are considering our courses, or if you're just considering illustration or fine arts as a career, as like a real path, that's what our school is all about. It's about helping you kind of plow your way towards that career, the snowplow of art schools. um, we really believe in it. So what we do is we try to pair you up with really the best working artists in the fields that you're interested in, who are going to help mentor you. It's super hands-on. It's not, we don't give you like a package of information and just say good luck. it is very much a custom tailored experience where you are personally coached by your instructor. You're going to be working on assignments. You're going to be watching demos. You're going to get connected with guest speakers. The whole time you're asking questions. It is not like Drawing Hive. Drawing Hive is a podcast at best. um, this is a two-way street. Our classes are very communicative, where you build a relationship with your classmates and your teachers, and I love it. We've seen a lot of students go through our school, and really build substantial careers out of it. It's exciting to see all our students from last year winning awards right now, which they're winning awards with some of the big names out there, which is really exciting. Um, I don't know if you guys saw this. Stephanos, Dale's an instructor of ours. Did you know that he won an award last year, and he listed me as an art director on it?
Oh my gosh, you are living up to
Like
your dad's legacy.
as a gag. Yeah, yeah. So I'm an award-winning art director according to Society of Illustrators.
That's
Um,
fantastic.
but yeah, so the whole point though is that you get to tap in to the industry. You get to tap into professional artists that are at the top of the food chain, and they wanna send the ladder back down. Um, and so classes are 10 weeks long. They start January 18th, and enrollment is still open. So if you want to learn more, go to visualartspassage.com, or you can call or email the school. Hello at Visual Arts Passage. It goes straight to me. We're a small crew. We don't like to bog things down by making it bigger than it needs to be. We're all about results.
Yeah, can I say a couple things, Timmy?
Please.
And Cassandra and Ray, please chime in. You know, I mean, if you go to like look at rosters of students and people that have come through our programs that have benefited from our program, and there are many, our focus is a little different than traditional art and design college. Our focus is helping people develop career. And, you know, a lot of our students come in with, you know, good skills. Some come in with skill they're really trying to develop. But our end goal is a finished product, or, you know, I always joke and say, we don't grade, we don't babysit, we help you make a portfolio. And we help you identify how to do that properly in the industry. And we've had some really, really good artists come into our program that had good skill set when they came in, but they didn't understand the other part. Like, how does the industry side work? And so our program's organized. I kind of built it around my experience of how I learned from a bunch of other artists. And I learned obviously from my father and his peers. You know, I had the opportunity to show my work to really, really great artists as I was trying to learn. And that's kind of what we're doing. And I've kind of broken it into four major things on both the fine art side and the illustration side. And the first one is you have to understand the working process, things we were just talking about in you know, what to show art directors. You know, what does the pipeline look like? What is the actual process of making an image with an art director and the interaction? So you've got to understand that. You have to have, the second thing you have to have is you have to have the ability to problem solve. And illustration is visual communication. Narrative painting, same way. Viz dev work, it's all about visual communication. And so you have to have a way to develop an idea. We have a class called visual development and excuse me, ideation and visual storytelling, taught by a wonderful artist, Ashley Lovett. And the point of that is the cognitive side of what you need to develop. And those are the two big picture things you need to start making professional work. You have to have the ability and craft to make it. And then you have to have an ability to problem solve, to visually problem solve, the cognitive aspect. You put those things together and you start making a portfolio aimed at the people you want to work for in the industry. And that happens in our portfolio classes. So that's like number three. What is my collection of work going to look like to share to the art directors that I want to share with? And then the very last part is, what are the tools you need, whether it's, you know, what is your social media? What is your website? What is your direct mail? What does your monthly newsletter look like? All of that, and branding it all together to approach the industry. So it's very practical. It's very realistic, and it's organized there specifically to, number one, be better, but to work in the industry. Hope I explained that pretty well. Ray, Cassandra, feel free to throw in on that because you do it, you're a big part of it.
Yeah, I think the what you said about uh, custom tailoring your portfolio for the market you want to go into and understanding and researching is so important because I might do work for Magic the Gathering, but that has like the portfolio is completely different when it comes to putting together a body of work for a gallery. The expectations are different, the workflow is different, the mindset's different. I mean, everything is so different. So I mean, I've known illustrators who've wanted to become uh, painters, gallery painters, and they're their brain is so locked into like doing assignment based stuff that it's hard for them to, they feel lost and they have all the skill in the world, but it's understanding like it's a different skill that you have to develop because it's a
No,
different.
Ray, one of the most common questions, like working illustrators, people I've known and have talked with, spoke with, they don't know what to make.
Right.
It's like, I have all this stuff, but I don't know what to do with it. And I think we spend a considerable amount of time of helping people find the path.
Yeah, I think it's that isn't it interesting. It's like I remember my one of my mentors, Alberto Ray, telling me when I was a student. I mean, this must have been over 20 years ago. He was like, "There's going to be a point where," he was talking about development with me, and he's like, he says, and I'd asked him questions about like, I've struggled with drawing and painting so much. I hope there's a point where I could kind of do it because this is so painful. And he's like, well, there's going to be a point where you're going to be able to pretty much draw or paint anything you want. And then at that point, you're really going to have to answer the real question. And that is, what do you paint?
Right.
And boy, is that like a mountain if you're not used to that. It's
Mhm.
Here's a comment from the chat that I'd love for all three of you to chime in on, and don't trip over each other to answer it. I've been told that it's essentially impossible to build a career as a fine artist.
Ooh, I'm happy to chime in on this one.
Go get them, Cassandra. I think all three of us would take that exception to that.
Yeah, but okay, here's the thing. It is not easy. Like it means you have to do a lot of work. It's totally possible. Um, I was terrified of trying to break into the gallery world initially, and I thought I had zero place to be, especially with the kind of art I wanted to do. I don't fall into the normal style that like I thought of as gallery. Like I didn't want to do still life. I didn't want to be figurative. I didn't want to do landscape. I wanted to paint animals in like clothing with funky frames, and like that to me was fun, and I will continue to do that if no one buys my work. Um so I had a job with with a grocery store for 14 years doing art for them until I finally just couldn't do that job because of kids, and I just started painting the things I wanted and creating a collection of work that just had a strong voice because it's all I wanted to do. Once I started to look into it, I realized there was a place. There's a whole movement. There's pop surrealism, which I fall into, but all of that took me down a whole path of self-discovery and realizing that the gallery world is way bigger and there's room for so much more art than I realized. And that's what's been really cool about VAP is like it took me so long to figure all that out. Like John Ray and I all have different perspectives of the same path, and we're all able to talk to you about how you can see a path for your work. Like if you really, really want to do something, if you're really passionate about it and you've got good self-discipline, because you have to have good self-discipline, because once gallery work takes off, you're going to have a crazy schedule and you're going to have a good process and you're going to have to know how to tackle that. And that's a lot of the stuff we talk about is first off, one, we're going to help you with skill and we're going to help you figure out what you want to create. And once you do that, then we're going to try to tackle your process. Like, how do you do your piece? What part works for you? What doesn't work for you? We all have different process, but we all have a very established process. Um, Once you have those things understood and then you have something to approach a gallery. Once you start talking with galleries, it just everything builds upon yourself. And once you get there, we talk about how you maintain a relationship with the gallery so that you're able to keep going. And I work with several galleries so that I don't oversaturate my location. So I work with several galleries across the country, and so I have consistent shows. I did 20 group shows last year and one solo. So I always had work in shows. I always had opportunity for things to sell and build. And so you
Mm.
can totally make a career out of it.
Yeah. I mean, I get fired up when I hear like somebody says you can't make a career out of something. There is totally a middle class that exists in that field. For something that is quote unquote impossible, I sure know a lot of people paying their bills doing it. Like that would be my answer. And the other thing, because I work with a lot of comedians, and I know the exact type of person that says it's impossible, that you can't make a career doing this or that. It's a person who tried to do it and gave up.
Well, I think somewhere down the line,
Yeah,
somebody, they've been around somebody that
yeah,
didn't figure it out. And
yeah. Yeah,
that's their opinion.
yeah.
It's like I like this saying. I didn't know if I liked it when I first heard it, but somebody told me I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth as an artist because I was around all these artists. And I love thinking about that now because I got to follow their path. And that's like educationally, that's the one thing that I know that I'm really good at is I can put people in the right room. I hear their problems and I put people in the room that they need to be in with the right artist that does that. And I think that's what our program does really well. I feel like that's my job.
Yeah. I think that's like, I know a lot of artists that, because like, so I made a post a couple weeks ago that was like, it was just a meme of Tom Hanks and Castaway. And it's like, you know, art school students, like a month after graduating from the most expensive school, it's just them being stranded. Right. And, people were very, fired up about it. Like it got viewed a lot. And, the comment section is pretty aggressive um uh towards art schools. And like I think it's like there's a way to find success and there's a way there's a way not to. And like most art schools like put no emphasis on like building a career and like helping you find a career. And a lot of them actually now, I would say, on their websites try to make it sound like they do, but they don't in practice at all. um but like that doesn't mean, just because like institutions are not helping people build careers doesn't mean that there are not careers in those fields. um and I know a lot of artists that I would say built their careers in those fields without any direct nepotism. When I say that, I mean they were obviously given advantages, but like their parents didn't own galleries, or like, you know, they like they worked hard and they made those connections on their own. I mean, maybe they probably some of the most successful people I do think come from supportive backgrounds. But yeah, I think that I don't know. I know a lot of people that are like thriving in what is probably like the middle class of an industry, which
I'm gonna give
awesome.
you a slight addendum to that, Timmy. I think you're totally right at that, saying that as it relates to the fine art industry. The illustration industry doesn't work that way because,
Can you specifically say what doesn't work that way? Like,
well, as far as like any type of nepotism or hiring your friend or somebody that you went to school with, you got to be able to do the work. The,
yeah.
the illustration world is like they have the budget and they have the ability to hire the best people out there. A
Yeah,
gal,
but I mean, like that. Yeah, I bet like it's the net. That's not nepotism. Isn't that you get it and you don't have the skill? It's that you got introduced because your parent knew somebody, and then you have to have the skill too. I mean,
yeah,
yeah,
believe me, it's the bane of my existence. It's like,
yeah,
um, I would never have been able to make a living as an artist on the illustration side if I wasn't able to do the work that the art directors want
mhm,
to do. Didn't
yeah.
matter how successful my father was.
But I guess, but that's kind of what I was just saying. I'm just saying, like, I know artists that like they found success just by putting in the work, and then also
Absolutely.
getting
Sure.
lucky, getting lucky. And when I say they got lucky, they were lucky enough to run into somebody that showed them they were either smart enough to map it out on their own, which I think is extremely rare, like as in map out like what work, how does this work? Or they got lucky enough. The most likely thing is they found somebody who knows how it works, and that person tells them.
Yeah. And
Our school pairs you with people who know how it works, know how it works.
yeah,
Like
so
that's the purpose
it's
of it.
what they do. I like to describe it as they are full-time artists and part-time teachers. Uh,
Mhm.
and, and,
Yeah.
and I think that's the right formula.
Mhm.
It,
Here's some quick questions that we could do like a fire round. This is a really quick one because we answer this question all the time. So just the most abridged answer. Um, Quick question: what's the best way to fund and stay motivated about art while living paycheck to paycheck in a totally unrelated job?
Do what you love.
Mhm.
Identify the thing that's your favorite thing to do, and that's what you chase in the industry.
Yeah,
Because then you're doing exactly what you want to do all the time.
Well,
yeah,
and you do it when you're not working your job. Like I was doing the paintings I wanted to do when I wasn't at work, and when I was work, I was doing the paintings like for the job that I needed to do. So yeah, that's hard because you're tired, but if you want it, you make the time.
Yeah.
Mhm. Also, I think it's kind of like running or something like to get in the groove, I think is hard. And so the real thing is like, okay, you don't want to go for a run today. You're like dreading this run or you're dreading quote unquote drawing or painting. Just because I don't know, it's strenuous either mentally or physically. Um, Commit to a 5 minute walk. Draw your drink, like John says all the time. Just draw some, make do something that's like digestible, and you're gonna do more. You know. Here's another one. How do painters use drawings on the canvas without it disappearing after the first coat of paint is applied?
Ah, I just did it. I used workable fixative. I did my drawing underneath in Conti crayon. And then I put workable fixative over the top of it, and then it doesn't move no matter what I do to it.
Yeah. Um.
There's lots of ways of doing it. You can do that with just,
Yeah.
there's things that are healthier than that too.
And I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk in detail too much about the class anymore because I know we talked about it a lot. But someone asked, like, what's the time commitment a student should expect to get the most out of the course? Asking is somebody with kids in a full-time non-art job.
Well, I would say half of our students have jobs or in school, or more
Yeah.
than.
Yeah.
And I always tell people the class, we meet live twice a week. We meet on the weekend for 3 hours, and we have a 2 hour meetup in the middle of the week for critique called study hall. So there's 5 hours. If you can't,
Study hall is optional. Yeah.
yeah, and if you cannot make either one of those, you can submit your work and it will be reviewed if you were there not and watch it on recording. There's all kinds of options to it. But
Yeah.
what I always tell people, if you can go to the class, listen to the class or go to the class, it's a 3 hour class. If you have 6 hours that you can commit a week to the program, you're going to benefit immensely. We have students that use it at art school that commit 30 hours a week, sometimes even more. And then we have some that only can do it for, 5 or 6 hours, and they get a huge amount of benefit and they can of information that they can take with them and to continue to develop.
Yeah. Yeah, that 5 hour, I see that being totally common. Um, yeah. Do you guys have any New Year's resolutions? Do you guys mess around with those?
Yeah, mine was be nicer to Ray, but don't know. I don't know if it's going to happen or not.
I'm bored.
Purring. That was not on my resolution bingo list, John.
Right. I have so much fun talking to you anytime I talk to you. So
John, you know what I'm totally derailing this, Timmy. I'm so sorry, but I have to. So I got for Christmas, I got a lithograph of Ever Cry Wolf, the movie poster by David Grove.
how
Yep.
cool is that? Explain who David Grove is.
David Grove, who actually thinking a lot about when I'm doing this. He was an illustrator in the I would say started in the 60s, but his heyday probably 70s, 80s, would you say, John?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did editorial, advertising, illustration. He was, and he had a run in doing movie posters. He was known. Some notable movie posters was a Vision Quest, The Outsiders, Something Wicked This Way Comes, and never.
Did a lot of sports work too.
Yeah, a ton. I love his stuff for the NFL.
His golf stuff and his NFL stuff, man. Oof.
Yeah. Um, and so he was one of the uh I would say one of the illustrators very much like in the vein of like uh Bart Forbes around that time he was starting that were heavily influenced by Bernie Fuchs, what Bernie was doing in his third iteration.
Yeah.
And David just had nothing but respect for him. And
You know what else he did too is he was part of a time where a West Coast illustrator could do East Coast work because of deliveries, overnight delivery.
right.
And it kind of opened up, I mean, that very much Bart Forbes, Jack Unruh, people that lived outside of New York, that world kind of changed. And I think of David about that. I think about him connected to that a lot.
Yeah, that we don't think a lot about that, because it's so instant now. But that was a
It
that
was
was
a huge crutch. Yeah. Okay.
um so I think if I did have a resolution, it'd be probably just to keep looking at more awesome art because I don't I should do that more often, like go see actual originals. I For a second the lithograph was so good I thought it was the original piece. And I'd
How'd you
seen
get it?
um Santa Claus got it for me.
Nice.
Really?
Yeah.
That is nice of her.
And it surprise, and so I was yeah, it was really touching. Those you don't know, I knew David really well. I would consider him a friend, and so he was you know a mentor to me when I was in San Francisco. So I got to see a lot of his cool what illustrations he had in his house and everything like that, and his love of art and music and things like that, and so it's pretty cool. Yeah, so I was like, I have to tell the when we were talking about movie posters, and the comps and all that stuff. I was about to say it, but
Yeah.
then Timmy had to talk about the school again.
Try to talk about it one time. One ad read of the night. On the topic of the school, are there any like OG Drawing Hive people who've noticed that we've been posting memes in addition to art? And how do you feel about it?
And
You do
Because
know Godfather, right? We could say Godfather is like Drawing Hive, right? Pre-meme. Godfather 2, I would say, is like Drawing Hive post-meme.
okay,
I guess
yeah,
it's genius.
it's just the only way people interact. I'll say this. So this is I find this funny, and I think people will enjoy this too. So I made a post that was about AI art, quote unquote AI art, right? And I made it very rage baity on purpose. And there was a swarm of AI people that went absolutely berserk in the comments, just off the rails. And it caused it to go, it's at 1 million views now. It's off the
Wow.
rails.
Is it really at 1 million views?
Yeah, it hit 1 million literally like 20 minutes ago. And and, and this is how it hit 1 million. Somebody would leave an absolutely bonkers comment, not friendly, using a lot of naughty words to describe me personally.
What?
Yeah, yeah. I got some pretty heavy DMs, like some pretty like screenshot, send it to the group text. Like, I
Oh
guess you just get to say this.
gosh.
Yeah, I wouldn't send them to you guys. It would be inappropriate. That's how like wild it is.
Oh,
Anyways,
I'm so sorry, Timmy.
no, it's hilarious for me because all I want are the views, Cassandra.
That's still not nice.
No, so what I
No,
do
I
is
don't like
so
that.
so so when they say it though, and all of you just know, whenever you see Visual Arts Passage respond to somebody who said something naughty with just a really cryptic emoji, it's just to get them to respond more. And they fall for it every time. It's wild. The best one is can you elaborate on that more? I'll say that. I've said that to some.
Oh, I have seen you say that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I will say,
And then the funniest thing is just so you know, if we like something, it doesn't mean we like it. It's to confuse them even more. I'll like their comment and then I'll say, "Can you elaborate?" And they'll be like, "What is going on with their account?" I think it's hilarious.
I think it's interesting that, and when Timmy was telling me about all this, all I could think about was all of the times I've reacted to, I mean, I never I mean, I like something, a piece of art or something, but I
Hmm.
never write comments unless it's
Yeah.
something I know. And it's like all the times I've been fooled by somebody that's doing exactly the same thing. That's all I could
Yeah.
think about. Because
Well,
there's people out there like this is all about, clickbait, you know?
it's kind of sad. There's a few people that I just was like, "Oh, you've been." I mean, there's a couple comment sections in it that have like over 200 comments. To like these people are messaging each other all week, like fighting. And yeah, guys, you
Hey, I
gotta stop.
wanted to say one thing tonight, and that
Yeah.
is, I mean, we usually don't go there, but I wanted to say, like, anybody in Los Angeles, best of luck to you, man. I really hope,
Yeah.
I wish you the best. I
Oh,
have
I'm so
some
sorry.
friends that I've been trading texts with all day and, or the last couple of days, and I just have, been thinking about all of you. So anybody that,
Good.
in that position, I'm sorry, and I really hope things work out.
Truly terrifying.
Yeah, I've been checking in with all my friends there just to make sure everybody's okay or able to evacuate. It's
One of them, who responded back to me immediately was Bill. Uh,
yeah, good.
Yeah.
yeah, but he put a video out last night from his balcony of one of the fires.
yeah,
Mm.
I saw that.
So Bill Sienkiewicz, not Bill Cobb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's up in New York, right?
Bill Cobb's in New York, but
Yeah.
Bill's obviously
Savage, yeah, I know he's in LA.
in Los Angeles.
In a fancy house with the big windows.
Yep.
Yeah, one of the few people Timmy commented we were doing a talk with him because it's one of the few people that had a grand piano And they're,
Yeah.
I really laughed.
Yeah. I probably rolled my eyes when I walked by his house. Like, no,
The
but he's an
comic
awesome
world has
guy.
been very, very good to him.
Yeah, no kidding. Um, no, everybody, I hope you're staying safe.
Yep.
On that note, this is your 5 minute warning. So start posting your last image to Instagram. It's hashtag Drawing Hive 232, hashtag Drawing Hive. We're going right at 7:55 or whatever. We're going right at 55 wherever you are. So don't waste any time. Put your pencils down. Post it
Hey,
now.
hey, Timmy, I'm going to say this a little bit early tonight, but if you could please do a
Yeah,
close
we
up
will.
on
Walk around the
Cassandra
room.
and Ray's work. They're both spectacular.
Yeah,
Ray's has got his backwards again, but other than that, um,
Cassandra, that's awesome. That's such a good Samuel Jackson.
So I'm trying to get some of it, like not quite there yet, but
it's great. Nice painting.
Um, this was a movie, The Hateful Eight movie I saw in theaters. Did not like it. Threw it on. Loved it.
ha,
Isn't that weird? Yeah.
You didn't like it in the theater, but you
Yeah, I didn't like it at all in theaters. I was like,
John, that looks amazing.
it really
Awesome
does.
job.
a little, it
Did,
needs some help.
I love how you carved that light out there. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's at a point where I can't do anything. It's just wet and I got to let it dry. So
I don't know that you need to. Like, I
Don't
really
touch.
like it.
look at that.
I think Samuel Jackson's going to be the winner tonight. That's my guess.
Well, it is out of these two. It's gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
No, I just
Tim,
meant like when I said winner, I meant
Oh, the amount,
Of
the
the of the
I
week.
wasn't like
volume.
I just meant volume, not quality.
It's my favorite Jack Nicholson line. Someone asked him, "How you gonna on the bucket list?" And he said, "Kiss the most beautiful girl in the world." And he said, "How are you gonna do that?" And he goes, "Volume." Was his answer.
Yeah.
Great answer.
All right.
Timmy, I will
Got,
say that
got
the
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Did you think I was about to open it? I'm not.
Yeah. I'm like, no, I've got whiskers
Oh.
to paint here.
to give you feedback on the memes, I will say that this is the first time that I've ever gotten responses for any post that Visual Arts Passage has that I've shared, and artists have like directly messaged me saying like this is awesome, and that's the first time that's
Yeah, I mean, everybody that complains about the algorithm, whatever, I'm not like a big tech sympathizer, but we have kind of weaved our own web here in that the same people who comment on the memes I share never they see the image. I see that they see the images, they never interact with them.
right.
And then all of a sudden, you're like, you know, get not just getting likes or comments, but you're getting comments and shares and stuff. It's crazy. Weird. I'm not a fan of it. I'm very begrudgingly doing it, just so you all know. I'm not trying to create a meme account, but I do feel like I'm getting
Pretty soon
dragged
the
that way.
death threats
See,
coming.
I see a lot of successful other, like magazine companies too, even just using that to get people over to them, and then they give quality content, and they just kind of use it to get more people to see them. So I think
Yeah,
if it's a
well,
tool,
you know what the bummer of that is
mm,
that because I don't really know what to do with it now, because the bummer is if you have a post that gets 1 million views, right?
mhm,
That doesn't equate to really anything anymore. It doesn't grow your following dramatically. It doesn't really do anything because your next post, if it doesn't match that energy, is not going to get it doesn't like lift it's not like a tide that lifts all ships. Does that make
mm.
sense?
Yeah,
Right?
that's a bummer.
Where it used to be like that. And not only is that the case, but when you go back to posting the content that is actually the vegetable content, nobody engages with it again. And
Huh.
a follower By following a person, this blew my mind. If you follow a person on Instagram or TikTok, it only increases the likelihood of you seeing their content by less than 1%,
What?
which
Really?
means there is no reason to follow people.
Well, that doesn't help.
Yeah, but everybody follow Visual Arts Passage on Instagram.
Great. Great
Yeah.
for the win there, Timmy.
Yeah. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram and share my memes.
Hey, we're friends.
I love the memes.
I'll say it though. That Matrix one though, that was funny. That was funny. I liked it.
A lot of thought went into it. We wanted it to be kind of clickbaity. Not clickbait, rage bait a little bit, because we knew by using the Matrix it would upset AI people. And it did. I loved it. The first comment was somebody said, "These idiots don't even realize like the message of the Matrix." And I was like, "We won. We got them."
I
Yeah.
see you with like George Byrne hands, like,
Yeah.
now we've brought you all in.
I truly felt like a little puppet master.
That's
Where I was
so good.
not to the art people. I like the art people. I was trying to puppet master the tech weird they're not tech bros. They're just like people who identify as tech bros. I don't know. Yeah. It was always, yeah. All right. We're gonna everybody's
Somebody said AI bros.
57.
57.
Yeah, what's that?
Well, Timmy said 55 where we're at. Timmy seems like he's got a heart out. So
no, I know. It's just hard because there's a little we're having a tech glitch, but we got it figured out. Sorry, everybody. Running a little late tonight. Um, but here we go. I mean, here we go. Okay, here we
Off we
go.
go.
It's happening. I'm sorry, everybody.
There's going to be some good stuff in here.
There is gonna be
Oh,
some good
hands
stuff.
down.
Hang in there, people. All right, right out the
Heck
gate.
yeah.
Oh, look
I
at
like that
that.
we kicked it off with Alberto. That's awesome.
Wow.
Awesome.
Ooh.
Man, it's pretty cool when you can see work and you know who the work is without looking at their names.
Totally.
Yeah,
Great
Those
job.
two I knew instantly.
Oh,
Jack.
nice.
Very nice. Oh,
Oh,
that's
that's lovely. Oh,
cool.
great, Julian. I like the atmosphericness you captured. Oh, good.
Yep.
Really nice, Maria.
great.
Oh, that's
That's
fantastic.
fun.
Oh, the hair, you got his hair perfect.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
that's a good
awesome.
drawing.
I
Ooh,
love
good
that.
It's
beard.
a good likeness.
It was. It was really good likeness.
Just hauling around the dynamite.
Ooh, that is lovely.
The research dynamite.
That's fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
Dang,
Look at
Robert.
that.
I'm gonna
Beautiful.
Beautiful, Robert.
Beautiful, beautiful.
wow.
Well, that's well done.
Always love it, Jeff.
That's great.
I
Go,
feel like
Jeff.
I've seen the movie.
Oh, that's the
Ooh,
way to handle that picture.
yeah, that was a hard one. You did a great
That
job
is really well
developing it.
done.
Really nice.
Oh, I love
That's what my nephew
Good
looked like.
job.
I think it's pretty interesting that Kurt Russell was in two of these movies.
I
Yeah.
thought that was a theme, Timmy. And I was
Yeah,
like,
like a secret Kurt Russell thing.
yeah.
He like looks the same.
My
Great
favorite.
job.
I love the movie Used Cars.
Nice. This is great stuff.
Fantastic.
Oh, well
Beautiful,
done.
Gary.
Another great
Beautiful.
likeness.
Mm-hmm. Really nice.
Wow.
Nice, Randy. I like that you added red rum.
Oh wow, I love
That's
that.
nice.
Great job, Terry. Really nice.
Well,
Nice.
good
Really
drawing.
good.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Great
Nice.
job. Really nice.
Nice, Valerie.
Yeah. I like it. Good shape work
Oh,
there.
I love that.
Ooh, really good.
It's attitude.
Coolest jacket. The jacket's so awesome.
Hmm
The inside lining of it. It's awesome.
I like your name too, Critter Wings. Great job.
Oh my,
Dang, Alberto, did you get to all of them? So good.
it's like it.
Really nice. Good job. Ooh, that's awesome.
Whoa,
Very
Good
good.
one.
Very
great
good.
stuff.
Oh, that's cool. You have really nice handwriting too.
Yeah, really.
Great drawing and fantastic handwriting. Good job. Ooh, love it. Good tones.
Oh, this one earlier. That's nice. Way to go, Tim.
I love the texture, the snow and the beard.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. Nice.
Great job, Karen.
Well done.
Fantastic, Nicole.
Good job.
Good stuff.
Ooh,
Way to
cool
go, Andy.
shapes. Oh, that's fun, Paul.
Oh, wow. That was that Paul?
Yeah,
Oh, beautiful, Paul.
great job.
Great stuff.
Oh, I see Xander's name.
Fantastic.
Oof,
Ooh,
look at that.
dang, Xander.
I'll do a little slide too.
Oh,
That's
Oh,
that's a
awesome
good one.
too.
John, that's awesome.
I'm really glad I didn't do Samuel L. Jackson between
Yeah,
Cassandra and Ray and everybody's work. It's like, man.
yeah.
Oh, everybody was ready for tonight. Y'all brought it. Cool. Color
It
code.
does seem like a
Love
lot of people are doing some heat checks tonight.
it. Yeah, this is awesome. Great job.
Yeah, they're like, ah, it's 2025. Let's just do a little drawing hive heat check.
So fun.
That's fun.
That's good,
Yeah,
Nicole.
it is.
Nice.
Yeah, all this awesome artwork is making me feel like Kurt Russell when he throws his whiskey in the computer.
Yeah. Xander, that was fantastic.
Oh, good one.
Ooh, Charlotta, I love.
Charlotta, that's got a nice feel to it.
Beautiful line work.
Oh my gosh, Randy, that's
Dang,
awesome.
Oh, Randy.
Randy. You brought it. Your cardboard wins
Whoa.
tonight, my friend.
That was kind of made for Randy.
Yeah, what is that? A donut box? That's nice.
Yeah, he does like cereal and pizza boxes. Obviously, we're friends. We have to be. We're
Yeah.
connected by cardboard.
Connected by cardboard. Yeah.
The cardboard
Great
relationship.
stuff.
Great.
Oh, that's nice, Nicole.
Yeah, it's really nice. Oh, that's
Oh,
great.
awesome.
Great too. Wow.
Good stuff. That's
Yes.
terrifying. Oh man, that's great.
Fantastic.
I love it. That's
Way to
awesome. That's our
go.
image for
I
the
think
night.
is that a Felicity?
That's a
Yeah,
Felicity.
I saw
Yeah.
that earlier. It said Felicity. I just want to say one last thing. You can have a career making images. You can. Anybody that's wondering that, or if you've got somebody in your life telling you it's not possible, you can do it. I know a lot of people who are doing it now. A lot of them teach with us. And I just want to say we are enrolling. Classes start January 18th. If you just try to make a career out of this on your own with no help from anybody else, you're going to have to be a very special person. That is a tough route to go. But you can do this. You just need help from the right people. This was a really fun night. I do hope everybody is safe wherever they are. It sounds like it's what if you're not in snow, you're around a fire. Please be safe, everybody, and come back and draw with us next week.
Thank you, everybody. Cassandra,
Happy
Ray,
New Year.
thanks for joining us tonight. I can't wait to start teaching with you next
Yeah.
week.
Thank you.
Gonna be awesome.
And I just dropped a link to the classes in the chat.
All right.
Grab that link fast though, because I'm in this thing. All right. Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.